She walked 86 runway shows in one season. That's almost one show every single day for 2.5 months straight. While everyone knew the names Kate Moss and Naomi Campbell, there was another face on every major runway. A mysterious Russian girl with haunting eyes who conquered fashion and then vanished at her peak. This is the untold story of the supermodel who disappeared when she was on top of the world. It's 1987. The Soviet Union is falling apart. In a freezing cold city in Siberia called Omsk, a baby girl is born. Her parents name her Elena, but the world would know her by just one name, Vlada. Growing up in post-Soviet Russia was tough. The economy had crashed. Families were struggling just to survive. But Vlada had something special, a face that looked like it came from another planet. Porcelain skin, delicate features, and eyes so wide and haunting they seemed almost otherworldly. This wasn't your typical Russian beauty. This was something completely different. As a teenager, a modeling scout spotted Vlada in Omsk. Most girls from small Russian cities never make it past local catalogs. They get stuck doing department store shoots and regional fashion shows that nobody remembers. But Vlada was different. Her look was so unique, so otherworldly, that her agency knew they had to get her out of Russia immediately. First stop, Tokyo. Picture this: a teenage girl from the frozen wastelands of Siberia suddenly dropped into one of the most neon-lit, overwhelming, fast-paced cities in the world. The culture shock must have been incredible. But Japan had always loved doll-like features, porcelain skin, and that fragile, ethereal beauty. And Vlada? She had all of that in spades. In Tokyo, she learned the basics: how to walk without looking awkward, how to pose for the camera, how to survive in an industry that could be brutal to newcomers. It was like fashion boot camp, but she was a natural. The photographers loved her. The clients couldn't get enough of her unique look. Then came the big move, Paris. This was the ultimate test. Paris Fashion Week, where careers are made or destroyed in a single season. And here, she made a decision that would change everything. She dropped her birth name Elena and became simply Vlada. One word: unforgettable, mysterious. Just like Cher or Madonna, but for the fashion world. 2005 was the year everything changed. Vlada walked into Paris Fashion Week as a complete unknown, just another Eastern European model hoping to make it big. She walked out as the next big thing, with every major designer wanting to book her. Here's the thing. The fashion world was obsessed with Brazilian bombshells like Gisele Bündchen and all-American blondes like Heidi Klum. Sun-kissed skin, voluptuous curves, that California beach goddess vibe. But Vlada offered something totally different. She was ethereal, fragile-looking, almost not from this world, like a porcelain doll that had somehow come to life. And the timing? Perfect. Fashion was changing. The sexy, curvy supermodels of the early 2000s were being replaced by something new. Waif-like, otherworldly, doll-faced models who looked like they'd stepped out of a Tim Burton movie. And Vlada was right at the center of this revolution. Here's where the story gets absolutely crazy. By the fall-winter 2006 season, Vlada wasn't just booking some shows. She wasn't even booking most shows. She was booking all the shows. Alexander McQueen, Balenciaga, Chanel, Dior, Gucci, Louis Vuitton, Prada, Valentino, Versace. The list goes on and on. 86 runway shows in one season. Let me put this in perspective for you. Fashion Week isn't just one week. It's a month-long marathon across 4 cities: New York, London, Milan, and Paris. Each show means hours of waiting, makeup, hair, rehearsals. Some days, models rush between 5 or 6 different shows on almost no sleep and barely any food. It's physically brutal, mentally exhausting, and Vlada did it 86 times in one season. That's almost superhuman. Karl Lagerfeld noticed. So did John Galliano and Marc Jacobs. The most powerful people in fashion were watching this quiet Russian girl with the haunting eyes. Soon, walking shows wasn't enough. Vlada's face started appearing everywhere. Campaigns for major brands, covers of French Vogue, British Vogue, Italian Vogue. She was working with the world's top photographers. For a girl from a freezing city in Siberia, this was beyond any dream she could have imagined. She became part of a new wave, the doll-faced girls. Along with Gemma Ward and Sasha Pivovarova, Vlada's look defined an entire era of fashion. They were ethereal, otherworldly, almost alien in their beauty. And for a moment, they were everywhere. But here's what made Vlada different from every other supermodel of her time. While Paris Hilton was dominating headlines and Lindsay Lohan was partying with models, Vlada remained a complete mystery. No scandals, no celebrity boyfriends, no reality TV shows, just the work. She rarely gave interviews. When she did, she was soft-spoken and private. Backstage, while some models demanded special treatment, Vlada was known for being professional, always on time, always prepared, always grateful. This wasn't an accident, it was a choice. While others were becoming celebrities, she was becoming a legend. But here's the thing about fashion. It's brutal. Living out of suitcases, constant jet lag, the pressure to stay thin, the loneliness of being thousands of miles from home. For many models, this leads to partying, drugs, destructive behavior. Vlada chose a different path. She read books, she studied English, she called home, she kept something of herself private. And maybe she understood something that many models learn too late. This industry chews people up and spits them out. The models who burn brightest in the social scene often burn out fastest on the runway. By 2010, things were changing. The economic crash of 2008 had shaken luxury markets. Social media was creating a new kind of celebrity. The doll-faced era was ending. Designers wanted models with personalities, with social media followings, with names that could sell products. The industry was moving toward the Kendall Jenners and Gigi Hadids of the world, and then something remarkable happened. Instead of desperately clinging to relevance, instead of trying to reinvent herself into something she wasn't, Vlada simply stepped back. No dramatic announcement, no final runway walk. She just became more selective. Fewer shows, fewer campaigns, more time for herself. She moved to America. Her Instagram showed glimpses of a life beyond modeling, travel, friends, simple pleasures. The girl who once ran between 86 runway shows in a single season was finally taking time to breathe. But fashion has a way of coming full circle. By the late 2000s and 10s, nostalgia for the mid-2000s was building. Tumblr blogs were dedicated to Vlada's runway moments. Pinterest boards featured her magazine covers. A new generation was discovering the doll-faced era. And for designers looking to tap into this nostalgia, Vlada represented something authentic. She wasn't trying to recreate an era, she had defined it. Today, Vogue Paris named her one of the top 30 models of the 2000s. Fashion historians can't tell the story of that era without mentioning Vlada. Alongside Gemma Ward and Lily Cole, she created a visual vocabulary that changed how we understood beauty. But perhaps her most important legacy isn't just what she accomplished, it's how she accomplished it. In an era of party girls and celebrity models, Vlada built her career on professionalism, consistency, and pure talent. No scandals, no drama, just an extraordinary ability to bring clothes to life. She proved that you don't need to be the loudest voice in the room to make an impact. Sometimes the quiet ones leave the loudest mark. The fashion world will always create new stars, new faces, new moments, but there will never be another Vlada. The girl from Siberia who conquered the runways, who pushed the limits of what seemed humanly possible, who defined an era with her otherworldly presence, and who knew when to step back and let the next generation have their moment. In an industry built on reinvention, Vlada Roslyakova's story reminds us of something important. True impact doesn't always come from making the most noise. Sometimes it comes from quietly changing the game, and then walking away on your own terms. That's the story of the supermodel who disappeared at her peak. And maybe, just maybe, that's exactly how she wanted it.